If someone had told you a few months ago that the team with the best record in the league wouldn't be the Lakers or Bucks, you probably would have thought it would be the Clippers, Nets, or any other team full of superstars. Would you have believed them if they told you it would be the Jazz? Utah has been a solid team in Western Conference for a few years, but they haven't exactly looked like contenders. Their slow starts in the regular season and shortcomings in the playoffs have put a ceiling on the things people expect from them. But things have been different this time around. This season, they found the right footing after their sixth game, and now they're looking like one of the most unstoppable teams in the league. So now that they've made it to the top of the standings, it's time for us to start making the uncomfortable questions. Is the Jazz a legitimate threat in the West? Is their success sustainable? Should the Lakers and Clippers be worried about them? Let's take a look into it. The Jazz started the season like they usually do, alternating wins and losses on their way to an average record. They did that for the first 6 games of the season, putting together a record of 3-3. However, they haven't lost again. Following an underwhelming performance against the Knicks, the players looked at each other and decided they wanted to be better than just an average team. They realized they had the tools to start winning more often, and if they managed to get everyone on the same page, they'd be able to put up a fight against anyone. And unlike previous seasons, they turned words into actions. In the next game, Utah got a win against the mighty Bucks, and then they just kept winning. Now they're the owners of a 10-game winning streak and leaped over both LA teams to take a sole possession as the team with the best record in the league. But what are the reasons behind their success? Well, you could assume that they had a weak schedule over that stretch, and while it's true they didn't face many elite teams, they still had to beat a few playoff squads to get those wins. Still, no matter who your opponent is, winning 10 NBA games in a row ain't easy. You could also assume someone on their roster is having a breakout season, or that an off-season addition is helping them turn things around, but that would be another mistake. Other than bringing back Derek Favors after a 1-year absence, the Jazz didn't add any new rotational pieces, and neither of the players who are given the most minutes in the team is having the kind of season you would describe as a surprising development. So, what's changed for them? As simple as it may sound, they're just doing everything a little better than they did last year. If you take a look at the numbers, the first thing you may notice is their three-point shooting, and that's a good starting point. The Jazz is currently second in the league in three-point shooting percentage, only behind the Clippers. They're also third on triples attempted per game and first in threes made with an average of 16.6 shots from long range. Those numbers are outstanding and have helped them break some records. For instance, the 248 threes they've made during the first 15 games of the season is a league record. And their hot shooting has also helped them earn a top 5 offensive rating in the league. Other than Bojan Bogdanovic, most of their key players are having some of the best seasons in their careers when it comes to shooting, and that's made the team incredibly fun to watch. They've also been more aggressive and more active running the floor. Their transition offense has become one of the best in the league, and they've made sure to make opposing defense pay when they don't get back on time. When there's a live rebound or when they give a basket away, they immediately get in transition, and if the opposing team is not prepared, a missed layup on one end can quickly turn into an open three on the other end of the court. But not everything has been transition offense. Their half-court game has also been amazing so far. Everyone's making it a priority to move the ball to find the best shot, and that often results in open threes or an easy bucket in the paint for Rudy Gobert. And even when they can't create points off a pass, the team is still finding ways to score. Coach Quinn Snyder has empowered his players to shoot whenever they find an opening, and that has resulted in a lot of pull-up jumpers, especially when opposing players get caught in the middle of a screen. In short, Utah's offense has been spectacular so far. They've managed to make rivals pay in every possible way, and that's been a big reason why they've earned the best record in the league. However, if you ask members of the team, they will tell you they've been playing their best on the other end of the floor. The Jazz have been a great defensive team over the last few years. However, they fell out of the top 10 during last season after making some changes in the roster to try and improve their offense. But this season, they've recovered their spot as one of the elite defensive teams in the league and currently have the 3rd best defensive rating. That improvement has been caused by each of the players having a better understanding of where they need to be and how they can help each other, and the results have been excellent. So far, the team has been allowing the 3rd fewest three-pointers made, the 6th lowest percentage of shots from long range, and the 3rd lowest field goal percentage. And once again, their success on defense has been thanks in large part to the play of Gobert. With his teammates on the perimeter playing better, the Frenchman has been able to focus on what happens close to the basket, and the results may help him end a 3rd Defensive Player of the Year. Gobert contests the 2nd most shots in the league, and when he's able to challenge a shot, opponents make only 41.3% of their field goals. He's also a big reason why the Jazz is leading the league in rebounds per game and rebounding percentage. Utah can make life miserable for their opponents regardless of whether they attempt to attack from long range or close to the basket. Whatever teams try to do, the Jazz will have a good chance of getting stops and securing the rebounds. That's nothing new. After all, the team was built around Gobert, and the plan has always been to rely on their strong defensive play. However, the reason they're looking better than ever is that both the offense and defense have been at a high level. In the past, they didn't have the offensive power to go against elite teams and had to rely on their defense to try to win games. But as we all know, great defense can only take you so far. Then during last season, they managed to get better in the offensive end by adding players like Jordan Clarkson, Mike Conley, and Bogdanovich. But since most of the new pieces weren't used to their system, it took them a while to understand what they needed to do on the defensive end. Now their familiarity with each other and the leadership of Coach Snyder has helped unlock the best version of the roster. Gobert and Mitchell are playing as well as ever, but it's the role players who've taken the biggest steps forward. Clarkson is looking like an early favorite to earn 6th Man of the Year. He's second in the team in scoring and helps balance the first and second unit when on the court. After a slow start during his first season in Utah, Conley has managed to keep playing like he did inside the bubble and has become one of their most effective and reliable weapons on the offensive end, while also making sure to get everyone involved. Bogdanovich, Joe Ingles, and Royce O'Neal remain as effective as ever in their respective roles. And the return of Favors has helped keep the defensive intensity when Gobert goes to the bench. On top of that, the Jazz has enjoyed a meaningful advantage over the rest of the league. During their first 17 games, they were the only team to have used the same starting lineup in every contest. They had only missed one of their best 9 players, and only one player in their entire roster has missed time because of health protocols. So considering other teams are having multiple games postponed or missing key pieces, Utah has been fortunate to not have dealt with health issues so far. But even when that streak came to an end, they showed they could still pull out an elite performance. That happened in their first game against Dallas when they missed Mitchell and Favors, but it didn't seem to matter. The team dominated the game from start to finish, and Gobert, Clarkson, and Ingles made up for the absence of Donovan with outstanding scoring performances. So, should we start to look at the Jazz as championship contenders? Even though it's still too early to tell, everything seems to indicate they're capable of maintaining this high level of play. In fact, Coach Steve Kerr even mentioned they looked like the Warriors when they were just starting their championship run in 2015. Still, those Warriors had a legitimate MVP in Steph Curry, and that's something Utah is lacking. Mitchell is capable of having historic performances in the playoffs, and Gobert will make sure the team is in a good position on the other end of the court. But will that be enough to beat teams like the Lakers or Nets? We can't tell yet, but at the very least, there's a chance this team can compete for a berth in the conference finals, and that could be trouble for the rest of the West. Altogether, the Jazz has seemingly found the right mix of players Coach Snyder needed to run his system at the level where he wanted it to be. And so far, the results have been nothing short of spectacular. The team is playing elite basketball on both ends of the court, and if they manage to keep things up, there's no reason to believe they won't be playing late in the postseason. And while they may still be a step away from championship contention, their days of being eliminated in the early rounds could be coming to an end. But now, do you think the Jazz will be able to defeat the LA teams in a 7-game series? Or are they still a tier below the elite teams in the West? Let us know in the comments. We hope you've enjoyed today's video, and if you did, remember to like it and subscribe to our channel so that we can keep bringing you more NBA content, because we are Courtside.